Welcome to Beyond the Blend, the podcast that goes behind the science and talks to the people at the heart of the lubricant market, telling the real story of the people who make the lubricant market move. With real insight and honest conversations, we aim to show off the people's side from across the entire lubricant supply chain. Join me, Steve Knapp, and Rob Taylor as we delve behind the scenes of the lubricant industry. Let's go. Let's kick off with this week's Quick Fire 5. Caitlin, late night out or early evening on the sofa?
Oh, absolutely early evening on the sofa.
Me and you both. Online events or face-to-face?
Oh, face-to-face for sure. I mean, I think that's really what this industry is all about, right? Like we can do online events and if possible, but it's just so much better when you get that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that. Behind the scenes or front and center?
Behind the scenes, please.
I thought
not like this.
With the amount of preparation on this podcast, I thought that's what you'd say. See the future or change the past?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, deep one.
I think see the future.
Interesting.
I mean, you can't, because if you change one thing about the past, it's not just one thing you're changing, right?
Oh my God, butterfly
There's a whole
effect.
knock-on effect. Yeah, like that would be scary.
Oh my God, we're going to have to come back to that. And finally, sweet potato with marshmallow or not?
No.
Good.
No marshmallow.
Good. And
do people do that in your country?
No, right. Before we get into your introduction, Caitlin, right. We were on a trip to Kansas once. I think it was Kansas City. And we went to a bar for our dinner. And the lady serving at the bar, I asked for a steak and salad, I think it was. And she said, would you like a sweet potato? And I said, yeah, why not? And she said, would you like marshmallows with it? Now, I thought she'd seen the British guy walking into a bar and was wholly taking me for a fool. But it turns out it's an actual thing. Yeah,
it's a thing, especially, in the Midwest like that.
I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, it's more of in my experience, having grown up in the South, it's more like a Thanksgiving, Christmas casserole where you would have like the mashed sweet potato and then the, kind of caramelized marshmallows on top. But I would never expect to see it on just like a side dish of sweet potato any time of the year.
Readily available. Yeah, and the guy did say, who was next to me, who I had to ask to validate this, he did say, yeah, it's popular around Thanksgiving, but this was spring. So I found it wholly bizarre. But quite nice, though. Quite nice. Not something.
Oh, did you get it that way?
I insisted on it after someone recommended it.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I personally, it's just too much sugar for me, and I didn't grow up eating it that way. So
yeah, it's a strange combination, but one that does kind of work once, I think. But
check that box and move on.
Yeah, exactly. It's my American adventure. Anyway, we'll digress lots. So that's the first one of them. But Caitlin, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Please do take a moment to introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Caitlin Jacobs. I am the communications director for the Independent Lubricant Manufacturers Association, so ILMA, and we're the main North American trade association for the lubricants industry.
Brilliant. And at time of recording, what are we on now? It's early July, 2nd of July, 3rd of July. It's your 4th of July weekend coming up. So happy 4th of July, I think is what we say.
Oh, yeah. Thanks very much.
Do you have plans? What are you doing?
Unfortunately, we don't. We're actually flying out tomorrow evening to join my in-laws for a lovely camping experience on Lake Garda in Italy. Unfortunately, this is the way that the timing worked out for everyone, so that we're basically kind of skipping the holiday this year, which is unfortunate. But maybe, we have an evening flight. Maybe we'll get to see some fireworks from the sky. We'll see.
That'd be cool. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Although you aren't skipping the holiday, you're enjoying the holiday with your in-laws. This is
sure.
Caitlin.
Sure, something like that. I mean, we won't actually be in Italy until the 5th of July. So kind of spending the holiday in transit. But
with a little one as well, right? With your baby girl.
Yeah, my 2.5-year-old. So everybody wish me luck.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I think my time limit for travel with my little ones is around the 2.5 hour mark, which gets me to South Spain. So to go on a 12-hour flight, 10-hour flight, it's a brave move.
Yeah, we unfortunately are accustomed to longer traveling distances. I cannot get to the south of Spain in 2.5 hours, and we're just to visit my parents. It's a good 2.5 hour drive if the traffic's not bad, and that's in the car. But to see my in-laws, we have to get at least a 6-hour flight. So we've started training her from a young age, and the thing is, we only go once a year. And so in between, she's changed so much that I've got to start all over trying to figure out what will keep her busy
yes,
during the trip,
a wholly different stage, isn't it? From like 1.5 to 2.5. It's just that they grow up so much. So what worked before might not work now. So it's
exactly
a whole new.
Yeah, but with snacktivities always work, Rob.
Lots of snacks, please. Yes.
Yes.
It's funny. I've got 4 now. My youngest flew first time. He must have been 5 months old. It was a terrible experience for everyone else on the plane. My other 3 are just so used to it now. I didn't fly for the first time until I was 15 years old. They just take it as a gimme that we're fortunate enough to go away once a year. And they'll just sit on their tablets and play games as they're taking off. And my wife hates flying, so she's like shaking in her seat.
White-knuckled.
And the kids are just enjoying their little trip, not knowing what's going on as this plane hurtles along. It's fascinating, just the different mindset shift around it. So good luck.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I need it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about ILMA. How long have you been involved with it? We're fortunate to be contributing and partnering with you, and we're very grateful to play a small part in that. I think it's such a fantastic organization. The annual meetings are brilliant. Tell me about that. How long have you been involved?
Well, first of all, we're really excited to have you guys back again. It's been a great 2-3 year working relationship, and it's great. Let me see. It's hard for me to remember how long I've been with ILMA specifically, because I actually started attending ILMA meetings in my previous job. So I'm trying to think. I think I've been in ILMA for 3 or maybe going on 4 years now. But before that, I worked for Lubes and Greases, the independent, industry publication, and I was there for a good 5 or 6 years and was attending the ILMA meetings, as an actual attendee, as a member. So I've got both sides of that experience,
and now
which has been helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And have they always been? I think this year will be our third event in October that we're fortunate enough to attend. Have they always been so spectacular? Because they are something else. They're just...
Well, I really appreciate hearing that. The staff works really hard on these, and they're such a signature of the ILMA membership experience. I think they've certainly always been this good since I've been attending, but we really make a concerted effort every year to try and make the next year even better. We send out that 10-day survey. We really do take everyone's feedback seriously. We have a huge debrief at the end, and we say, what went well, what didn't go well, what can we do to improve. My particular area of focus for the meetings is the education content and the committee meetings. So I'm always looking really hard at whether the content is hitting home, whether there are bodies in the room, which of course indicates interest in itself, recognizing that people really do come to our meeting to do business, number one. I mean, I know that. So I'm never going to get everybody in the room, but I want to have as much compelling content as possible so that people feel like it's worth their time to, set aside some hour or so of not having business meetings and actually come and get some business intel while they're there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I noticed most about any of these conferences that we go to is probably most I've seen at ILMA's annual meeting is people are there to do business. I guess because it's such a vast area, everyone's flying into one space. It's people's customers are there. So let's do it. They are back to back, aren't they? It's crazy.
I mean, people have told us they can see more of their customers and their suppliers in those few days at our meetings than they do all year.
Yeah.
So,
and just for those that don't know about the annual, tell us about the scale of it. How many attendees do you look to attract each year? Is it growing? Where are we at?
It is growing. We are one of the fortunate organizations in the association space, the trade association space, that our meetings are growing. And I think that is, as we mentioned earlier, just because our industry is so relational, people really understand and value that face-to-face connection. And so our October meeting, that's our annual meeting, we're over 1,000 people pretty much every year. And we also do a meeting in the spring, which we call ILMA Engage. It's usually in April. And that's been over 500 folks the past several years,
Wow.
Which has been an uptick, which is great.
Excellent.
So, we're very pleased.
How would you explain the key differences between the Engage and the annual meeting?
Engage really, it used to be called the Management Forum. So it really focuses on kind of the business and management aspect, whereas we fit in a little more of the industry trends and market piece in the annual meeting in terms of the education content that we're offering.
Okay.
And it's being a smaller meeting, I think it's a great place to dive in, especially for folks who might be new to our meetings. It's a little easier to handle, 500 people as opposed to literally twice that.
Yeah, crazy. So. And what's the feedback? It's great that you capture feedback from the attendees. I think it's always a positive step. What are they telling you? What trends are starting to emerge that you're noticing?
Well, I mean, mainly what we're asking for is the feedback on the meeting and the meeting content, whether they liked it, whether they thought it was valuable, whether they felt that there was anything that could have been done better or that they really liked. So we're asking for and getting feedback anywhere from, was this a good hotel venue? Do you want us to come back? To, we really wish that this speaker had larger font on their slides. It's everything in between there. We really take seriously and value all of that feedback because it all builds together for a good experience. And I love it when people leave notes of, we want to hear more about 3D printing, or we want to hear something about AI and technology, because then I can grab on that and look to make another session on that. So we do get that kind of feedback as well.
Excellent. AI is a topic I want to touch on in a little while. But while we're on the ILMA sort of vein, what's sort of your proudest moment been a part of the ILMA team in shaping the voice and influence that ILMA has? Because it's quite an influential beast, I guess. It's what is it you're trying to achieve through the campaigns like the Move the World Forward, and you're creating the next generation of workforce? Tell us a few about the purpose and drivers that you're working on at the moment.
Well, I think I'm very excited to talk about the Move the World Forward campaign, so I'll do that second, maybe. But one of the big things, aside from coming to our meetings, networking, doing business, getting that business intel, our members really lean on us for regulatory information. So not only the compliance piece, because a lot of them are small, they're family-run businesses, they need help and direction because they don't necessarily have a staff member they can dedicate to some of the, the OSHA compliance with the update of the hazard communication standard, or all these different regulations that affect our industry. So we provide a lot of guidance there. We also have a big voice with government agencies. I mean, when ILMA talks, government listens.
Wow.
Because we have spent our 75 plus years building those relationships and establishing ourselves as experts. And when we come to the government, we have data from our members, which is a really important piece of, what I do is sometimes gathering that feedback, that data and information on certain topics from our members. And we're willing to work with them on sensible regulations and practical solutions. So, we're not just kicking up a fuss and it's all or nothing. We want you to kill this bill or delete this regulation and we won't accept anything different. We're very practical. And the point is to get something workable for our members. So that's a big part of our focus as well. And I think that's a huge influence that ILMA has built up over the years, certainly long before I came on the scene. Our general counsel, Jeff Leiter, has been, he might not like me saying this, he has been with ILMA since before I was born. So the man really knows this industry. He really knows our members, and he's just such a fantastic resource. But you also asked about the Move the World Forward campaign.
Move on to the fun one, Kate. There you go.
Yeah, that's the one I'm really excited about. It's a brand new territory for ILMA. And I know Holly was wanting to do this since she started with ILMA, Holly Alfano, our CEO, since she started with ILMA 10 years ago. And I was right on board as soon as I came in the door as well. Finally launching a PR campaign for our industry. We fly under the radar. We're involved in so much of everybody's daily life in terms of the products that they touch. And just so few people know our industry even exists. So with the silver tsunami that everybody talks about, this huge wave of retirements coming up in manufacturing and in general, but also in our industry in particular, it's if the younger generation doesn't know we exist, how are they going to know about the careers that are offered in lubricant manufacturing? So this campaign that we launched almost a year ago now is called Move the World Forward. And the point of the campaign is to reach out to the next generation, high schoolers, vocational school students, college students, make them aware of our industry, make them aware of all the amazing career paths in our industry. It's so unique, I think, in that, you can come in and start out sweeping the shop floor and literally work your way up to be the president of the company. And we have examples of that. And so there's so much fluidity. You can move within the same company, sometimes definitely within the same industry, between different, maybe you start out as a lab tech and you want to go into sales, or you start out in admin and you want to move into management. There's just so much opportunity for mobility within the industry, both up and across. We actually, ILMA commissioned a study, an economic impact study. It's been it was 2018 data now, so we're actually getting ready to update that. But we found that our industry supports a 26% higher salary than comparable industries. I'm that's huge, And on top of that, lubricants are inherently sustainable, right? And I think our industry is not very good at talking about that. Lubricants exist with the point of increasing energy efficiency, which reduces emissions, reducing wear, which reduces, it extends equipment life, it reduces waste. It's just, we haven't ever really talked about it that way. And so I'm really excited to get that message out to the younger generation who are going to be the next rock stars in this industry.
Yeah, brilliant.
So that was probably a way longer answer than you really wanted.
No,
you can tell that we're all super excited about this campaign.
Good, and it's nice to see that energy about it because you're right. I see that perception of the industry. It has that perception of it's for old men basically, and I think that is it. It's changing slowly. That I'm seeing. You probably perhaps see it differently. Do you think there are different challenges in the US than there are in European markets, for example, or is this a whole sector issue that you can see? What challenges are unique to you guys, or vice versa?
It's hard. I don't know as much about other global areas of the industry, but we have heard, certainly from the European industry, that it's also a challenge there, that, manufacturing is having a hard time attracting the next generation of workers. But I think that tide is slowly starting to shift. We've certainly seen some reports in the US that as the cost of a university education goes up and the payoff isn't necessarily as great, particularly right now, students who are graduating college and wondering, oh my gosh, can I even get a job? That they're considering more, traditionally blue collar jobs that also just happen to be fun and pay well and are in our industry. So I think this is great timing for this campaign to get the word out while students are starting to shift their focus towards jobs like manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's driving this this gap, or what has been driving this gap? Where did it all go wrong, in your opinion? When did it start to dry up? And where did you see this as a risk to the future?
Obviously, it's been building over a long time. Something like this doesn't happen overnight. And there's not a certain inflection point, I don't think, that we can point to. But somewhere over the years, manufacturing got a reputation that outlived its truthfulness for being dirty, low skill, low paying. And that's absolutely not the case anymore. In our industry, and I think most manufacturing, it's now high tech. There's all sorts of robotics, smart factories, a lot of skilled jobs. And, our industry is in the process of upskilling our current workforce in addition to looking for the next generation of workers who already have those technology skills. Everything's just a lot cleaner. There's so much research and development that's going into lubricants right now because the demands of equipment are getting more stringent, more complicated. There's a lot more niche areas where lubricants are needed. And, in addition to that, we're having, the greater regulations that are being put on the industry. So that just demands even more creativity, thinking outside the box, and problem solving, which I think are things that have not traditionally been associated with manufacturing jobs. But folks are slowly coming around to see that that's not the manufacturing of today. It's just an outdated image.
And it's great that ILMA is taking that sort of purpose and that vision and has spotted the opportunity or the risk, I guess, to the industry in the future. Are you getting help from government? Do they see this as well? Are they helping you along the way, or are you meeting resistance? How's it been received?
We haven't engaged government at this point because I don't know that there's a place for government right now, because what we're really doing is we're building awareness, specifically among young people. I should say we're working with a great PR team, a firm called BRG Communications, and they're the ones that are really helping us develop and execute this. ILMA's a small staff. There's no way we could do all this ourselves. But we're also leaning heavily on our members. Their involvement, their amplification of the campaign, their picking up the toolkit that we've made for them and going to their local community college, going to their alma mater, talking to their teenage kids. Like, this is a great industry. Like, here's some information about it. Tell your friends. We've been engaging digital influencers as well, because obviously the young people are they're on social media, they're in the digital space, that we need to meet them where they are. So we've got some exciting stuff planned for year 2 of the campaign, which include launching a TikTok channel.
I was just going to ask, are you going to be on TikTok, yeah. Caitlin?
Well, I will not. No. You will not find Caitlin Jacobs on TikTok, but you will find ILMA. So.
Excellent.
Don't miss Lubricant Expo Europe from the 16th to the 18th of September at Messe Dusseldorf, Germany. With 200 exhibitors covering the entire lubricant value chain and over 4,000 visitors, including industry leaders, OEMs, and end users. It's the must-attend event of the year. Register now to attend for free. Head to lubricantexpo.com/EU. Let's shape the future of lubricants together.
It's something we hear quite a bit, and I think I've heard often on this podcast and in conversations outside of here. We need to tell a better story. And I think sometimes people struggle to understand what that means in practicality. But I think what you've just highlighted is it can mean simple things like just talk about what you do. Just share the realities and don't keep it a secret, because I get the feeling the industry's kept itself a secret for far too long.
Yeah, we have. And I think what really resonates with the next generation is authentic stories, right? So you work in this industry, you love your job for whatever the reason, tell people about it. How'd you get here? What brought you here? Why do you stay? What are you looking forward to in the future of your career? Because that's what really resonates with the younger folks, and that's what's going to help them envision themselves in our industry.
Yeah, and it's not to blow our own trumpet here, but this is why we're also doing this podcast. It's to speak about the people who make the whole breadth of the industry move.
Mm-hmm.
People in the event space, in communications, in recruitment, graduates new to the industry. There is so much you can do that it's not even just for scientists. It's not even for technical people. There are so many non-technical opportunities.
Yeah, it's a business, right? You need finance people, you need marketing people, you need managerial people, you need people who drive forklifts. Like, you need everybody to make the whole business work.
Yeah, there are opportunities abound. I'm so glad that you've got that energy and just excitement about it. I think it's so infectious. I think it
Oh, yeah. Well, and I would also like to brag that we recently passed 1 million impressions for the campaign. So that's through, LinkedIn, X, YouTube.
Wow. So
So we're very happy.
there is a want and desire there to engage with it as well, right? Wait till you get on
I
TikTok.
think so. Oh, yeah. We're hoping that'll really, really push us to the next level.
Tens of millions.
Yes. Yes, I like the way you think, Rob.
One thing that you mentioned as well in that conversation was about sustainable. And it's a word that keeps coming up. Sustainability. I was at an event the other week, the UKLA roadmap, which was all about sustainability. And one thing I sort of came out of and reflected on is no one can really define what sustainable means. It means so many different things to so many different people. And I wondered, as you brought the word up and you're a communications director, what does it mean to you?
No pressure.
Yeah. How should people view sustainability? What is a definition of sustainability?
Well, I think it has to mean slightly different things for different industries, if that makes sense. And I think it has a bunch of different aspects to it. But to me, the main point is that whatever you're doing can continue into the future. I mean, that's obviously oversimplified, but that what you're doing right now is not destroying your own future market, your own future home, your own future community, whatever it is.
And are you seeing that as a requirement for, let's say, graduates that you're engaging with on the campaign trail, as it were? Are you seeing that as a demand, as an expectation that organizations must be sustainable? Is it a prerequisite almost now?
I really think that it matters to young people that they're working for an organization, a business, a company that shares their values on some level. And I think that sustainability is an important value to most young people. So whatever form that takes, I think they want to feel like, A, their role matters, and that B, they're contributing to a company that really shares their values on some level.
So the organization also have to believe it. I guess there's a risk, isn't there? It's almost like they do it because they feel like they have to. Potentially, it's a bit of a box tick.
Well, and there does have to be the business case. You can't just do something that doesn't have a return. It might just be a really long-term return, or it might not be as obvious in the short term, I guess, what that return might be, but it's that long-term thinking. It's like when you hire someone in the door, you don't want to just bring them in with like, oh, yes, we do this, that, and the other to be sustainable, but it's not actually a company value. If that, they might not stick around. You've got to walk the talk. And I think that's an important piece of this campaign, is to also get our members to reframe their thinking about their own businesses, because they're already doing a lot of stuff that is sustainable. I mean, as I said, lubricants themselves are inherently sustainable, but they're also taking steps to reduce their energy usage, to reduce their water usage. These are all things that are good for the bottom line. And we need to reframe the thinking about that and the way that we message about that it's also steps towards greater sustainability.
Yeah, it's almost just improving your efficiency. You could have packaged it in words that that they know and they're familiar with, right? It's uber efficient is sustainable. And you're right, people are probably doing it already. They probably just don't know that they are doing it. So talk about it more.
Exactly.
Tell the story. It's becoming more important to people that are in the industry. Yeah, it's one that I think it's going to evolve what sustainability means, I think, and it's going to become certainly more important and relevant. But I do think, and I always reference this back, and it's becoming a bit repeatable in one of the podcasts, but I spoke to Richard Camper as part of this podcast. What a great guy he is, by the way.
Oh, Richard's the best. And
he said, and I mentioned it in another recording recently, he said 30% of the world's energy is lost through friction. Well, that's your purpose. That's the purpose of the lubricants industry, is to reduce that number. And I just thought, what a great hook. It really stuck with me when he told me that.
I mean, it's obviously a very rough figure, and it varies depending on your application and whatnot. But in general, That's been found to be true. And if we can even make a small impact on that through use of lubricants and the correct lubricants, then that's huge in terms of emissions and all sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a great vision and a big purpose, and keep going with the storytelling. It's very noble cause. I wanted to dig into your past around communications a bit, because communications and marketing is something I personally find really interesting as well. What got you into it as a field of work? Where did you begin?
Oh man, I began. Oh, how far back do we want to go?
As far as you.
I mean, arguably, like we're talking about, like sitting in my AP English classroom in high school, like right, Mrs. Benson, who gave me the passion for writing and writing well. But I didn't necessarily know this is what I wanted to do. I saw a career counselor when I was in high school because my parents said, look, you got to figure out what you're going to study or we can't send you anywhere. How are you going to decide where you want to go for college if you don't even know what you want to study? Fair enough. And so I worked with her. We did, these personality tests and aptitude tests. And said, oh, you should look at going to communications. I said, all right, I don't have any better ideas. So I ended up studying public relations and corporate communications in college for my undergrad degree. Got out. My first job was actually working in fundraising, which is a great lesson. I hated it.
You're going to have to tell me why you hated it, Caitlin. What?
That's just, asking people for money is not my thing. It just wasn't a good fit for my personality, I think. But then fortunately, the organization I was working for had their communications director moved on. And so I was able to move into that position. And it just sort of went from there. I ended up in this industry. I'm not kidding. I was working for another trade association as an editor, which is really my calling, if I'm honest. I'm an editor at heart. Give me a red pen. I will fix it all. I wasn't really looking for another job, but I don't think it was a great fit where I was. And someone found me on LinkedIn. Guys, social media. The recruiter was also named Caitlin, and she spelled it the same way as I did. And I said, well, I guess I'll talk to her. Another Caitlin. She can't be bad.
There's two of you.
Yeah, there's at least two of us in the world. Because initially I thought, lubricants, what's that? And I don't want to go all the way out to Falls Church. What's in Falls Church? I was working in the middle of Washington, D.C. at the time. And for folks who don't know, Falls Church is sort of an outer suburb in Northern Virginia. And I wasn't keen on making the commute, but, I got to know the folks who were there at Loops and Greases, and they really hooked me in, not only as people, but also really sold the industry as an interesting industry to cover. And it just kind of went from there.
Fantastic. And I'm not going to pry into your age, but how many years of experience have you had from fundraising, which was horrible, to now? How many years is that?
So 20 years? No. Yes, 20 years now.
So, the world's changed at least 3 times, I reckon, in 20 years.
Oh, yeah, at least.
How has communication changed, do you think? What challenges have you seen in your professional sense? How's it changed?
The pace of everything is so much faster. You really do have to be on 24/7, especially if you truly work in PR and you're responding to news inquiries. My senior year of college is the year that Facebook debuted, and it was only for college students.
Yeah.
And so up until my senior year of college, there was no social media. It didn't exist. And I remember sitting with my colleague in my first job and him telling me, look at this Twitter thing. I think that's the next big thing. And I just sort of brushed it off. Like, who's ever heard of Twitter? What's that? I don't know, whatever. Who wants to fit their message into like however many characters it was? It was very limiting. We all know where we are today. So that's been a huge shift. I guess I'll just go ahead and date myself. I did an internship with National Geographic when I was in undergrad. And I was literally sorting through boxes of highlighted newspaper clippings, physical newspaper clippings, and quantifying those. So that's how much things have changed.
Oh, it's crazy.
Now AI can write your tweet for you and actually get it to the right journalist, tailored to what they're interested in. And they're good. It's not just just blather from a robot. It's good.
Yeah, the rate of change has been staggering. And I remember a similar Facebook story. I was in event promotions at the time. And I think even here in the UK, you had to have a university email address to access Facebook. I think it was like college or uni or something like that. So I had to make one up because I wasn't in university. So I had to try and blag one or get someone who had one and use that. But I remember saying, Facebook will never work. I'll buy another full page ad because that's the way forward for promotions. Full page ads, like Jesus. And then this Facebook thing stuck. And similar with Twitter, 140 characters, I think it was. It's like, well,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Who can say anything meaningful in 140 characters? That'll never work. And now it's almost X as it is now. How many times do you check every day to see what's going on? It's crazy, isn't it? Just the way we expect.
Well, we've just really, I think, readjusted the way that we communicate so that it fits on 140 characters. It fits on a short post on LinkedIn. It communicates through, visually through video and music.
But is it healthy for us? Is it healthy to take in everything we know from 140 characters?
Well, no. No, I think, it's just like even before social media came along, you shouldn't have been reading just one newspaper either. You should never limit yourself to just one source of information. And, that's how you end up in an echo chamber. That's how you fall for misinformation. That's how it's really bad for communities. It's bad for, individuals' intellectual integrity. You really have to broaden where you're getting your information from, I think.
Do you believe social media is a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think it's inherently bad. I think it's been used in a lot of bad ways. And I think the way that social media companies have used it has been potentially abusive, especially with with children in mind, and the way that their brains work and the way that they can take advantage of sort of those immature
minds, I guess.
Developmental stages.
They aren't developed enough, are they, to deal with it? It's challenging. And your child might be a bit too young, but my eldest certainly, he says, "Can I have Snapchat? I want Snapchat." Or he's 11. "I want Snapchat. I need this. I need this." I'm like, why on earth do you need that? You don't need it. It's not good for you. But all my friends are on it, so you can't stop. You can't stop the tide. I think you just have to raise them so they don't need this hook. It's a real challenge, and it's one that's not without its pitfalls, I don't think. It's and you're right about the communication. It's creating, certainly how I see it, it's almost like you're either this side or that side on everything. That you can't have a debate or a discussion with anyone anymore.
I think it's really allowed for a lot more polarization. Because you can kind of pick and choose who you want to hear from. And there's not really any one central source where everybody gets their baseline of information anymore. And I think that's been to our detriment.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone can find an expert that validates what they think, right? It's a real challenge. And I guess you see that. You see those challenges, certainly for you. You mentioned AI. Does AI threaten the PR and communications role/industry? So those coming into the industry, those graduates who you're hoping to speak to about a future in communications, does AI help that, or has it put the whole industry at risk, do you think? Where are you at with that?
I certainly don't think it puts the industry at risk. I think what it does is it makes the industry way more efficient. And you can do a lot more with a lot fewer people. But
you
still need those people.
Yeah.
But you still need those people. I mean, there's the 80-20 rule that people talk about, and I firmly believe that and I don't know how much better AI can get than that. That AI can do for 80% of the work, but you still need a human to do 20%, because we are, especially in PR, we're talking to other humans, and you have to bring that human sensibility and that human understanding. A bot, and I'm not saying that humans can't be tone deaf, they can, but a bot doesn't understand what tone is to the extent that a human can. It can put out something that just really is offensive or inappropriate for a moment. And how would it know that? How would it have that sensibility? There will never not be a role for people in communications, because by definition, it's a human thing.
I hope so. I think AI excites me as an overarching sort of statement. I think AI is quite an exciting development, but I do think if we don't own it a bit ourselves, then we almost work ourselves out of a job, or we expose ourselves to the risk of being replaced. Like, we have to stay relevant, right?
Well, if you look at it, I think, as a tool, and you can say, how does this tool make me more efficient that then frees me up to do other things that AI can't do, or to come up with better ideas, or to, actually sit down and have a think every once in a while. How many of us have the time, take the time to just think? And I think that's where new and brilliant ideas come from. But we're all just so busy doing the work that if we can use a tool like AI to make us more efficient, then it just gives us more time to be creative.
Isn't it strange? I think people used to say that about email, and then social media, and then Zoom. It'll make you more efficient. But everyone's busier than ever.
No, you're right. And I think that that's our own fault. I mean, I think there are boundaries that have not been set. I mean, I'm a person who, when I sign off from work, I'm done, guys. I'm not checking my email in the evenings. And unless I know that there's something that's coming that I need to keep an eye out for, maybe there's a deadline, whatever, there are exceptions. But I value that cutoff and that time. And I'm sure a lot of it is because I have a young daughter. And it's very important for me to give her my attention and my undivided attention, and to not be thinking about work or looking at my emails and, oh, honey, wait just a second, I have to do this. She doesn't understand that. But I've always been that way. And part of that is that because I've had bosses who have shown me that example.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good. So you,
and that's a big deal too.
So that's been role modeled to you, that this is okay.
It has. Yeah. When I was working my previous job for Lubes and Greases, Lisa Tochi, who was one of the 3 women who started that company, when she was at home, she was at home. She wasn't necessarily checking her email. She didn't have a smartphone the entire time I worked for her. And so that's just not what she modeled to me. And, my current CEO, Holly, is very supportive of a work-life balance and understanding that her employees are people. And in order to keep good people, you have to keep good people happy. And they need to not feel stressed out and burnt out because they're on all the time.
I mean, I guess I sounded surprised when you said that that's what had been role modeled to you. I guess that shouldn't be surprising, but there are so many stories that I'm sure you hear as well, where you're almost expected to be on. It's like, yeah, we all have these in our pockets. Let's go just refresh as soon as you walk in the door, your emails. Who's going to email you at this time? And is it really that urgent? I'm my own worst enemy for this. I'm not the best at it, and I know I can do better at it. But sometimes I do think, and I've done exactly what you just said. In a minute, I'll be with you in a second. I just need to check my emails. It's a horrible habit, and one that personally I need to break and be better around. So it's good that that's proactively supported in the work that you've had. Sounds like you've had good bosses before.
I have, and I'm fully aware that a lot of people who work in the communications field do not have that luxury, especially if they are, the top public relations person for a big company. You're expected to be tied to your phone because you never know when news is going to break or something's going to happen. But I've just been fortunate to have those role models, to be in companies, in industries where that's not necessarily the expectation. And I have also taken advantage of that. I've gone along with that, whereas I think I could have easily still fallen into the trap. But it's been, I think, an important choice for me to draw that line.
No, I think it's very powerful to draw that line between work and home. It's obviously, I assume that was challenged during COVID when home became work and work became home, which is still the case for many. So it's really challenging. But I think the reintroduction of face-to-face events hopefully helps champion and promote. Look, when you're at work, go to work. When you're at home, stay at home. Draw the line. Last couple for me, Caitlin. Just wanted to to touch back on ILMA, the annual meeting, the vision and the purposes. What does 5 years look like for ILMA? Have you got the next 5 years ahead mapped out? Is it an exciting time for ILMA?
I mean, we have our strategic plan. I'm certainly, like I mentioned before, looking forward to launching year 2 of our, Move the World Forward campaign.
So is the annual meeting looking to grow? Are you happy with where it's at? Whereas, as an example, you're looking to get to 1,500 people, or will you just keep it at 1,000? Is that the sweet spot for the annual meeting?
I think for us, it's really about quality more than it is about quantity. Something that folks don't always realize is that we book the venues where we have our meetings 5 years ahead. And so we've actually been struggling to get enough hotel rooms at these venues. So we're not pushing to grow faster than we can keep up with ourselves. What we are pushing towards is just to make things a little bit better every year, to make sure that we're really meeting our members where they are, helping them look down the road, giving them the information that they need to do business in, even in the lubricants industry, not just communications. Everything is a lot more fast paced.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, Caitlin, I love chatting to you. I think the work you do is great. I think your energy around the purpose of ILMA is infectious. I think there's so much energy and happiness around the work you do. So please do keep it up. Tell us where we can see more about Move the World Forward specifically, where we can connect with you, and how we can find out about the ILMA events for anyone that's listening who might be new to it.
The Move the World Forward campaign has a homepage, and that is ilma.org/gear your career. So that's where you can go and find out more about the campaign. We've got a couple of really great videos. You don't have to be an ILMA member to help spread the message. So there's a member toolkit. Just scroll down the page, you'll find it. I'm going to give you some suggestions of what you can do to help spread the message. If you want to get in touch with me, bless you, I'm on LinkedIn. Be happy to hear from anyone, especially if you have content ideas. If you want to tell me what you need to hear at an ILMA meeting, I want to hear that.
Listen, Caitlin, it's been a pleasure chatting to you and getting to know more about you and your background and your passion for communications. I really appreciate you taking time out, especially as you're still to pack for your long trip to Italy and Ireland. So listen, I hope the weather stays nice across Europe. It's been wonderful over here. So I hope it stays,
good to know.
It stays the same for you on your visit. But do enjoy Italy and Ireland, both lovely places. So yeah, have a great time. Take care.
All right, you too.
Don't miss Lubricant Expo Europe from the 16th to the 18th of September at Messe Dusseldorf, Germany. With 200 exhibitors covering the entire lubricant value chain and over 4,000 visitors, including industry leaders, OEMs, and end users. It's the must-attend event of the year. Register now to attend for free. Head to lubricantexpo.com/EU. Let's shape the future of lubricants together.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Blend. Be sure to follow us to catch next and future episodes as we continue to explore the people within the lubricant market.